Just a quick note before the article. This movie review is a kind of supplement to part 3 of my Lost Films of the 1920s series from a while ago, which featured the movie Babe Comes Home, starring Babe Ruth. Normally, I wouldn't do this kind of article because it would just be repeating information from another one of my videos, but this one had some information and movie stills that I hadn't seen before I uploaded that Lost Films video, and I think it helps to fill in some gaps. So anyway, let's get into it. Babe Comes Home is a 4-bagger of fun, by Mitchell Rawson. Midweek Pictorial, May 26, 1927. Being photographed is no novelty for Babe Ruth. Indeed, he is perhaps the most photographed man in the United States in our time. Posing for the motion picture camera in the role of hero and lover, however, is a rather different matter. Years ago, the Bambino appeared in a movie which it happened that the present reviewer failed to see. Different opinions have been expressed as to his work in that picture. At any rate, it is certain that he failed to oust the late Rudolph Valentino from the position which he held about that time as the darling of the cinema public. And now the Babe appears on the screen again, this time in a First National production entitled Babe Comes Home, and no doubt you are thinking the obvious things about it in advance. The Babe can bat as no one else can. Isn't that all that one has a right to expect? Isn't that the essential reason for his being in the movies at all? Unquestionably, that is the essential reason, but it doesn't tell the whole tale. Babe Comes Home is a very amusing comedy picture with an interesting story which begins splendidly, sags just a little in the middle, and then redeems itself handsomely at the end. In fact, like the Babe himself, it comes home with a bang. Well-known players are in the cast. The leading feminine part is enacted by no less celebrated and lovely a lady than Anna Q. Nielsen, and our own humble opinion has always been that a visit to even the least meritorious picture was worthwhile for the sake of seeing Miss Nielsen. Another attraction of Babe Comes Home is Louise Fazenda, and there is also the entertaining Arthur Stone in the role of driver of a laundry wagon. These are the leading lights, these with the Babe. And the Babe is a comedian. Whatever the explanation may be, skillful direction, native histrionic ability on the part of Mr. Ruth, or whatever else you like, the fact remains that the home-run celebrity of the ages plays his part remarkably well, as though he had been in the film game for years. The serious moments of the plot find him just as adequate as the humorous. He registers dismay, despair, anger, and so on in a manner calculated to open the eyes of the most skeptical. Of course, the above is not intended to suggest that George Herman Ruth is likely within the next season or two to snatch away the laurels of Charlie and Sid Chaplin, Harold Lloyd, and the other monarchs of movie mirth. Undoubtedly, a large part of the effectiveness of his work in this picture is bound up with the fact that it is Babe Ruth whom one is watching and laughing at, but he really does astonishingly good work. As for the plot of Babe Comes Home, it is based upon a short story by Gerald Beaumont called Said with Soap. Anna Q. Nielsen is seen as Vernie, a laundry girl, who washes Babe Dugan's baseball uniform every week. It is always the dirtiest of the uniforms received from the players. Dust, mud, and tobacco juice appear regularly in appalling quantity to be scrubbed away. At last, Vernie is driven to the point of writing an anonymous note to the Diamond Hero, upbraiding him for his untidy habits. That is the beginning of their romance, which proceeds to a stage where Dugan actually forswears chewing tobacco, and immediately suffers a slump in hitting ability that Bernie begs him to take a plug and be himself. But he is no longer a slave to the habit. All he needs is the knowledge that Vernie loves him and believes in him and wants him to win. And having that knowledge, he is able to step proudly up to the plate, slam the ball to the far outfield, and come home as of yore. The weak part of the picture, as noted above, comes in the middle. There are scenes in an amusement park which are very funny for a while and then grow tiresome. And there are other scenes showing Babe and Vernie looking over the little house which is to be their home after they are married. This part also needs cutting. Perhaps it will have been shortened by the time you see it. Babe Dugan, the nicotine devotee, regards cuspidors as the chief ornament of a really first-class residence, and has dozens of them scattered about the house. Hence, a violent quarrel with Vernie. Babe Comes Home is not a classic of the screen by any means. It has its weak spots here and there, and they are very weak. But taking it by and large, it is a very entertaining picture indeed, replete with gags that will cause sufficient laughter to do anyone a world of good.